Welcome to your custom deep dive. Today, we are jumping right into a pretty profound framework you brought us, right?
Yeah, from a text called The Alchemy of Perception, A New Posture of Prayer.
Right. And our mission today for you, the listener, is to explore how this source suggests we fundamentally alter the way you handle difficult situations. Like, not by manipulating the circumstances, but by completely changing your lens.
Exactly. I mean, usually when we hit a wall with a tough situation or, a difficult person, we sort of treat our internal problem solving like a customer service hotline.
Oh, I love that analogy. We really do.
We do. We mentally call up and just say, hey, this situation is broken, fix it.
Right, like we expect an immediate refund or some magical change in the other person's behavior.
And the text points out why that is a total recipe for frustration. Because, well, it ignores basic human nature. People rarely change on demand.
Yeah, shocker. Right.
Right. And relational tension doesn't just resolve itself because we are uncomfortable. So constantly asking to fix the external stuff means you are just in a perpetual fight with reality.
So what is the radical shift the author is suggesting then?
It is abandoning the request to fix what is happening and substituting it with a request for help to just see the situation clearly.
Okay, wait. Moving from fix this to help me see this sounds profound, but practically speaking, how does just observing a bad situation actually improve it? I
Well,
mean, it almost feels like you are just accepting defeat and letting the other person walk all over you.
I get why it feels that way, but it actually alters the mechanics of your reaction through what the author calls the pause.
The pause, okay.
Yeah, so when you encounter friction, say a colleague sends a really blunt, critical email, your brain instantly generates a narrative.
Oh, yeah, totally. Like, how dare they?
Exactly. Your limbic system categorizes the email as a threat or a blatant insult. But by adopting this new posture, you consciously force a wedge between the triggering event and your cognitive interpretation.
So you are short-circuiting that automatic narrative before it dictates your behavior.
You got it.
But wait, what if that colleague's email is objectively just rude? Isn't your brain's threat narrative entirely accurate?
Wow.
Because pausing to reevaluate seems like a quick way to just gaslight yourself out of completely valid frustration. If someone is being a jerk, they are being a jerk.
That is a fair pushback. But the author makes a really crucial distinction here. Your initial perception is not necessarily wrong, it is just completely incomplete.
Incomplete. Okay, how so?
Well, you only possess a tiny fraction of the data. You see the blunt email, but you don't see the silent panic attack that colleague had before writing it.
Oh, wow. Right.
Or the overwhelming pressure they are under from their own boss, or, a personal grief they might be carrying.
So recognizing your perception as incomplete does not excuse their bad behavior.
Right. It doesn't excuse it at all. It just broadens your context so you aren't reacting blindly to a single isolated data point. Ah, I see. So instead of trying to control the other person's actions so you can feel secure, you are gathering a wider perspective to manage yourself. The text uses the word alignment for this, right?
Yes, alignment.
Mhm.
Because control is entirely dependent on the other person complying with your wishes.
Which makes it incredibly fragile.
Exactly. Alignment means anchoring yourself to your own core values, like patience, clarity, empathy, regardless of the environment.
So if someone else is chaotic or angry, you don't automatically mirror their chaos.
Precisely. By seeking alignment, you become this non-reactive presence. This is the mechanism behind the quiet transformation the book describes.
Which makes sense because when you refuse to mirror that chaos, the entire dynamic shifts. The oxygen just gets sucked out of the conflict.
And that brings us to the core thesis of the text. When your perception changes, your emotional response changes. You stop escalating.
And when your response changes, the external outcomes begin to shift organically.
Rather than through forced manipulation, yeah. It is a slower process, but a much more sustainable one. So for everyone listening, your challenge today is to test this framework out. When you hit a wall with someone, skip the complaint hotline. Just pause and ask, help me see what I am missing.
Because clarity has a way of reshaping everything that follows.
It really does. Which brings up a fascinating final thought for you to chew on.
Oh, I'm ready.
If changing our perception of someone fundamentally changes how we react to them,
Yeah.
and our reaction changes the outcome, are we basically experiencing the psychological equivalent of the observer effect in quantum physics?
Oh, wow.
Right. Simply by choosing to observe a person differently. As complex and burdened rather than just annoying, do we actually alter the reality of who they are capable of being in that exact moment?
That is deep.
It is something to consider the next time you think you have a difficult person entirely figured out.